Good morning, dear children. I welcoming you all to Standard 6 SST class. Children, kindly open Chapter 5, Yearly States. Children, in my previous class, we already discussed about this republics and monarchies. Then sources, then homework I given to you to make this chart, Mahajanapadas, location, capital and forms of government, important rivers. Hope you already completed. Then also we discussed the rise of Magadha kingdom and Bimbisara and Ajatsatru. This all we discussed in my previous class, and today we will discuss about life during the period. Okay children, all of you open at page number 42. So let's continue the chapter. The king. The king was the leading figure in the Magadha kingdom. He had absolute powers. He lived in a large palace with a lot of officers and servants. His position was hereditary. The king represented the state. He maintained an army and his capital was fortified. The king had the right to collect taxes. These taxes were spent on the army, payment of salaries to officers, building roads and canals, digging wells, and for supporting Brahmanas. Supporting Brahmas. Okay. Next, administration. There was a council of advisors to help the king in his work, the Purohita. The Amatya and other officers carried out the work of day-to-day administration. The Senani, the commander, was the king's advisor on military matters. The Amatyas looked after the administration, judiciary and revenue collection. This is all about administration. Next we will see society. Society came to be rigidly divided into 4 varnas: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. Brahmanas were on the top in social hierarchy. He performed religious duties and imparted education. The Kshatriyas came next. They were the warriors. The Vaishyas, who occupied the 3rd position in hierarchy, carried on trade and agriculture activities. The Sudras were at the bottom of the society. The first 3 classes enjoyed all the privileges. The Brahmins framed laws which the rest of the society had to follow. The Sudras were to serve other classes. The division of labor gave birth to the caste system. Besides these classes, there was a class of untouchables who lived outside the villages, as they performed menial jobs. And child marriage and polygamy were common. Women continued to have a lower status in the society. They were expected to serve the men flock. The craftsmen and the merchants organized themselves into srenis or guilds, where artisans followed a common profession lived. Their profession gradually came to indicate their jati caste. Jati means caste. Professions became hereditary. Laws were made of the jati, made for the jati. Each jati had separate laws. The laws were to be strictly followed. The system of Varnasrama was more rigidly established. This is all about society. Next we'll see villages. Most of the people lived in the villages. As the population increased, villages also increased in size and number. These villages were well connected by roads and rivers. Next we'll see towns. As villages developed in size, they grew into towns gradually. The towns grew around trade and craft centers to secure cheap raw materials and to sell finished goods. Artisans and craftsmen came together to work collectively. These places later grew into towns. Vaishali, Kaushambi, Ujjaini, Tamralipti, Ayodhya, and Champa were the towns that flourished during this period. Next we will see trade. Trade was developed in this period, and trade got a boost due to the introduction of money. Trade by barter system was declining day by day because coins of silver and copper began to be used as a medium of exchange. Inland trade was brisk. Bimbisara built roads and bridges all over his empire. This helped to increase trade. Besides the land routes, trade was carried on through rivers too. Important seaports were Sopara and Bronch. The main articles of trade were silk, perfumes, iron, and muslin. Next we'll see education. The Gurukula system of education continued from the Vedic period. Important centers of learning were Kashi, Ujjain, and Takshila. These centers attracted thousands of students from all over the Indian subcontinent as well as from nearby regions. Next we'll see taxation. Agriculture was the main source of revenue for the state. The peasant had to pay 1/6 of his produce to the king. This was called bhaga or ser. In the beginning, taxes were collected in kind. Taxes began to be collected in cash with the introduction of money. Taxes were levied on traders. Carpenters, potters, weavers, etc. also paid taxes either in cash or kind or by offering free service to the king. Next we will see religion. Vedic religion came to be known as Brahmanism. It was their dominant religion. Brahmanas had begun to dominate their religion. The rituals and ceremonies were very expensive. The Vedas could not be understood by the common people as the medium of instruction was Sanskrit. This made the original Vedic religion very difficult. The yajna or sacrifices were also very expensive. Thus, the Vedic religion with its complexities became unsuitable for the common people. So next we will say rituals. Rituals Rajashwiya ceremony Yajna. The successor to the throne was crowned in an elaborate ceremony. This was known as the Rajashwiya ceremony. During the ceremony, while the priests chanted hymns, the king was supposed to do various rituals that displayed his strength and power. Children, turn the page. Next we will see Ashwamedha Yajna. What is Ashwamedha Yajna? Have you read the story of King Dasaratha's Ashwamedha in the Ramayana? Ashwamedha or horse sacrifice was another ritual performed by the king. In this, a horse, usually white, was set free by the king. It was followed by the king's soldiers. If their horse wandered into the kingdoms of other rajas, and they stopped it. They had to fight. If they allowed the horse to pass, it meant that they accepted that the Raja to whom the horse belonged was stronger than them. After a year, the horse would return and be sacrificed along with many animals. The priests performed the sacrifice and Rajas were invited. Raja who organized the sacrifice was then recognized as being the most powerful. So this is Ashwamedha Yajna. Next we'll see the Bhaji Confederacy. The Republic of Bhaji was located in modern day Bihar. The Bhajis were a confederation of 8 or 9 classes. Among these classes, Vidheya and Linchavis were the most powerful. During the time of Buddha, both Vidheya and Linchavis were republics. They were the world's first democracies. Vidheya came into importance during the time of King Janaka. Mithila was the capital of Vidheya. During the 5th century BC, Mithila was an important political and cultural center in northern India. It was also an important trade center. So children, here this chapter is over. You write down the important things in the SST copy and learn. Okay, thank you.